We're back! But I don't actually know if I'm happy about that.
I'm sorry, I've been watching my video back and I realize I'm talking really monotone and my eyes look tired, and that's because I am tired. I probably don't want to admit to myself how exhausted I really am. And I think I'm also a little depressed right now just because it was such an amazing experience for us that realizing that it's over, it's very sad. For me, one of the biggest culture shocks came the first day because we flew to France. It was such a long day. We got up, we got ready at 4:30 in the morning here, drove 45 minutes or so to the airport, got on a plane about an hour later. The plane ride was about 45 minutes, and then we had an 8-hour layover. After that 8-hour layover, we had another 8-hour flight, and it was exhausting. And after that, we just hit the ground running in Paris, and we were, our group leader she's done this many times, and she knows exactly what to expect. So she told us, the first day you are gonna feel like crap, and you're gonna hate it, but that's just the way it is. You have to keep pushing through. And it was so true. We felt awful. We were exhausted, and we got there and we met with certain other team leaders and talked with them and stayed in their home for a while. We didn't get to go to our hotel room because it wasn't ready, and then when we checked a second time and maybe even a third time, it still wasn't ready because that is French culture. Time is not of the essence unless you're going on the metro, which the metro is timely, but that's pretty much one of the very few things that it will be guaranteed to be on time. So our hotel room was not ready when it needed to be, so we couldn't take showers and relax there at all. And then in the evening, as a team, we were made to go to the grocery store and buy ingredients for a recipe that we were going to then be making. So we were expected to go buy groceries when we had no sleep, and I speak no French, as I said before, so the other girls spoke some French, but not a lot. And we had never seen some of these ingredients, well, most of them were fairly familiar, but because it was in France, certain elements were very foreign and they were written in French, so that's well, one of the things I was confused on was I don't know, we'll just say it was sweetened condensed milk. That's not what it was, but basically we'll just say it was something like that. And the French term used the word liquid, but on the can that we got, there was two different words that mean the same thing. It refers to something being a liquid, but it was a slightly different word. I didn't know if that meant it was a completely different item that we didn't want to use in our recipe because the word was slightly different. We're rushing around trying to get the ingredients and getting very confused and wondering, well, why can't we get just one onion when there's this bag of onions? It's the only thing we see, but we only need one. And parsley. We thought we were supposed to weigh the parsley because there you weigh all of your vegetables and do something with them. I was confused, but you're supposed to weigh them in a little plastic baggie. So we got parsley, and it was near the little weighing thing, so we thought, okay, we need to weigh the parsley, but we were looking on the little touch screen that has all the pictures of the vegetables that you can select to do something with. I was confused. But parsley was not on there, so we were trying to guess, and we were very confused. We were standing there forever. We were kind of in other people's way, which was even more embarrassing because there's 5 of us girls. All of a sudden, this worker comes up to us. The first thing he says is "putain," which is basically translated as whore in French. They don't mean it as whore. They use it in all kinds of different ways, and the way that he was using it was just kind of duh, guys, you don't weigh parsley, you just take it up to the front counter. But because that was one French word, I actually knew what it meant, and that's the first thing he said to us, and that was kind of my first introduction to French culture. It's are you saying something mean to me? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know you're not supposed to weigh parsley. But he wasn't, to me it seemed a little mean almost, but the other girls, they're no, he wasn't being mean. He was just duh, guys, you've been staying here for 5 hours, you don't weigh parsley. Hello, take the parsley off and just go pay for it. So, it's just different things like that where we really had to not take things offensively and just be okay, I'm from America, I don't know what's going on, I'll do my best to learn. Yeah. One of the biggest things we learned about France is that it's all about relationships over there, and people might think, well, yeah, duh, I mean, it's the city of love, so obviously it's all about relationships, but that's not true. it's not a romantic kind of view. In France, it's all about establishing trust. You have to really prove that you can be trustworthy and really build that with them. But once you do, you have their trust and their friendship, and that is key to their lives. They view Americans as being too easy with their relationships. Like, we will happily just walk down the street and smile and wave at someone and say, hey, and French people are confused by that, because if you don't know that person, if you haven't built your relationship with them, why would you bother waving and smiling at them? Because you're just giving them something that's basically meaningless. There's no real heart of the matter. It's just a whimsical little hey, and then you're done, and it means very little. Whereas with a French person, if they waved and said hi to someone, it's because there's been a relationship and there's been trust built, and there's a good reason for them to smile at you and give you that love that a smile really conveys. One of the most important things that we had to really focus on in France, or at least at times I had to focus on, was being humble and embracing French culture as much as I could. And I mean, as an American, it's going to be impossible for me to truly act like a French person. I mean, especially only in 10 days. I mean, there's no way I could ever pull that off. But that's not going to stop me from trying my absolute hardest to respect who the French are and how they live their lives. Another reason that I think people sometimes view French people as rude is not actually because the French people are rude. I mean, they can be, just like Americans can be. I mean, there's going to be butts everywhere, and that's just a fact. People that act like butts. I think at times when people experience a French person acting rude, it's more of a reaction, because the French person feels that you have not respected who they are and where you are. You're not in your own country, you're in France. It's extremely important when you go somewhere that is not your own home country to do your best to respect that country. And if you realize that you've messed up, because you will, don't just be like, oh, well, that's not my fault, you know, I didn't know. Just be like, oh, okay, sorry. I will do my best to improve on that in the future. And if they know that you care and you're trying, that will go a very, very long way, especially in France. I'm not sure about other countries, but if the French people know that you care and that you are doing your best to embrace their culture, that will mean so much to them. Another very important aspect to French culture is not being loud. Granted, there were the occasional loud people, especially if they were drunk, but that's another story. Generally speaking, French culture is quiet. There's no reason to raise your voice. There's no reason to draw major attention to yourself. You just want to fit in and go with the flow. That's what Paris is especially focused on. So when we were on the metro, obviously Paris is filled with people from all over the world. Like, there were so many Japanese tourists, you would think that Paris was made up of half Caucasian and half Japanese, because yeah, so I mean, there's people from all over the world there. But on the metro, you can tell who's from France and who's from America, because Americans are loud. We are so loud. And thankfully, our group leader told us, don't make a lot of noise in public, because that's what Americans are known for doing, and we don't want to stand out as the obnoxious American tourist. So we would do our absolute best to be very quiet. We didn't do a lot of smiling at all, because you don't do a lot of smiling. I really didn't see any French people smiling that much. In certain places they did, but really just walking down the street, I didn't really see any smiles. So yeah, back to the metro. Sorry, I'm really tired. Yeah, on the metro, we would just be very quiet, and we would talk to each other a bit, but not a lot. And when there would be Americans on the metro, we knew it, because they were loud. And it's fascinating to be a tourist, but yet to be doing your best, trying so hard to meld in with that culture, that when someone else from your own country is not, it's obvious and it annoys you. Because you're like, wait, you're from my country and you're not melding in with this culture, and what? That is insulting to both the French people and to me, even though I'm not French. It's just, it's a really funny juxtaposition, if that's the right word. That's a big word. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, yeah, so that was something that we ran into with being annoyed at people from our own country, because we could suddenly understand why the French people would be annoyed at us if we were acting the same way, because it was annoying. just the volume difference. You can definitely tell when people are from Europe, at least, if not Paris, and from America, because Americans are so much more casual and Europeans are much more refined in what they wear. It was one of the most fascinating things, though, was that when you go past all the wonderful, beautiful, amazing stores, you see these really colorful clothes and unique combos, and it's kind of fun, fresh. But when you walk down the street, especially people that you're pretty sure are actually from Paris, they're generally wearing very downplayed tones and just nothing super bright. Maybe some leggings that are a little brighter, maybe shoes or something, but it's just very neutral, and it's not at all like what you see in the storefront. So that was something that we really had to be like, oh, what? You know, the glass of friendship, yes. The cup of friendship. Cup of friendship? Some drink of friendship, something liquid that you ingest. In French culture, when you're in someone's home, if they say, would you like some tea? You say yes. I don't like tea. But if someone said to me, the first time I went into their home, would you like tea? I said yes, because that is a sign of friendship. And accepting the cup is accepting their friendship. It's very metaphorical. There's a lot of metaphors in French culture, like the in-between the lines thing that you don't learn about in the textbooks. There's a lot of that. So when you go into someone's home and they offer you a drink, you accept it, whether you want it or not, whether you like it or not, you accept it because you are then accepting their friendship. And that is something that we did a lot of with food and drink, accepting it because that is us saying, I respect you, you are my friend, I do not want to turn you away at all. Yeah, so, because in America, you know, it wouldn't really be rude if you went to someone's house and they said, hey, would you like some tea? And just be like, oh, you know, I'm really not thirsty, but thanks. That's not a problem here. There, no matter what, I'm not sure if the food, I mean, yes, the food, just the first thing that they offer you, and generally most of what they offer you, just accept it because it is a sign of friendship and that you are accepting them as your friend.